Dear friends, I'm excited to welcome you to a new series on navigating life with a strategic mindset. Our journey draws inspiration from history's masters of strategy, Sun Tzu, Machiavelli, Robert Greene, among others. While their lessons often emerged from war or politics, our aim is to apply them ethically. As Robert Greene reminds us, a cool head should go with a warm heart. Clarity must never strip away humanity. What is a strategic mindset? At its core, it's the ability to design feasible plans, take decisive action, and marshal resources to reach a goal. Developing one rests on three pillars. 1. Self mastery, auditing strengths and vulnerabilities. 2. Opportunity detection, spotting patterns and openings. 3. Influence, guiding others and navigating power dynamics. We'll explore each as dimensions of a machine learning (ML) model, where traits are features, decisions are algorithms, and growth is training. Self mastery, the first dimension. The first challenge in strategy is knowing ourselves. Sun Tzu said, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." In ML terms, this mirrors data preparation, data cleaning or dropping old habits we've outgrown, low variance features or behaviors with little impact, outliers or deep vulnerabilities that skew results, missing values or blind spots in self-knowledge. To fill blind spots, ML uses imputers. In life, we recall transferable skills that surface in new contexts. Feature importance traits often overlap, determination and resilience, for example. In ML, correlation captures such dynamics. The key is identifying what truly matters. The main goal in data selection leads down to identifying the essential. ML describes this process as feature importance. Common traits in strategic thinking recommended across centuries from Sun Tzu to Machiavelli to Robert Greene or Nicholas Nassim Taleb include planning, preparedness, clarity, adaptability, accountability, and the capacity of foresight. However, preparedness also implies befriending fear. Like Robert Greene notes, strategists have the ability to turn fear into awareness. In machine learning, such relationship is captured through the correlation feature. Adaptability aligns with mutual information, how features reveal each other's impact. Whether in planning or foresight, a strategic mindset also demands the wisdom to acknowledge and claim our priorities. This leads us to data scaling, which can be performed through the following methods: normalization mirrors, flexibility to circumstances, while standardization sharpens clarity and prevents distraction, and pruning, like ML's recursive feature elimination, echoes Taleb's via negativa, removing the unnecessary to strengthen what remains. What algorithms best capture a strategic mindset? Classification could help us pick our battles, while regression allows us to estimate the consequences of our actions. Support vector machines, SVM, implies finding optimal boundaries, much like Machiavelli's advice for rulers to adapt to changing times and circumstances. Polynomial regression captures stakes that grow with progress, echoing Sun Tzu's lesson. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. K-nearest neighbors, KNN, classify new data by similarity, akin to Sun Tzu's counsel to study ourselves and our opponents. Decision trees unfold all possible outcomes of a decision, illustrating Robert Greene's advice to view life as a chessboard by planning several moves ahead instead of acting on the moment. Random forests capture multiple perspectives, reflecting Robert Greene's warning that unintended consequences matter as much as intentions. Neural networks recreate the human brain's capacity to recognize patterns. Think of becoming so attuned to human behavior and macro trends that we manage to make decisions with limited information, like Taleb's strategy for thriving amid uncertainty. Generative adversarial networks, GANs, imply simulating scenarios. Greene notes we can redefine success as we evolve. Simulations let us test possibilities safely. ML models learn from fake datasets. In real life, that implies simulations of goals and scenarios of opportunities and their possible unfolding. So we define the dataset as following: make classification. Are we in front of a possible stake or not? Make regression. How would this route unfold? Key parameters. N samples, scenarios which might accommodate opportunities. N features, stakes we are likely to pursue, such as business opportunities, a social life, or meeting a potential partner. N informative, our top priorities such as attracting investment for a business. Noise, irrelevant circumstances. Random state, the extent to which one tactic can be applied in various settings, such as presenting your skill set as a value proposition in a networking event, rather than focusing on what can you get from the person in front of you. We split data, 80% training, 20% testing. Training reflects on past responses. Testing applies them to future experiences. Model.fit is learning. Model.predict is our next move. Now let's evaluate our model. R squared, how much variance our strategy explains. MSE highlights the weight of large errors, illustrating Machiavelli's warning on how neglecting military preparedness invites disaster. MA points out sensitivity to outliers such as ego or our lack of accountability. Classification report gives performance metrics like precision in reading people and recall in anticipating events. Cross-validation tests your consistency across domains, from work to relationships. Even the best models require calibration. In ML, we adjust learning rate, frequency of moves, and epochs, number of reviews. In life, this is the rhythm between bold action and reflection. The training data we worked with can also affect our results. In machine learning, we deal with Gini impurity, or the frequency to which an element might be mislabeled, and entropy, which measures the level of disorder or uncertainty within the dataset. Gini impurity is found when misinterpreting a challenge as a barrier. Entropy appears like chasing goals without preparation. Regression models expose us to the bias error, oversimplified assumptions such as thinking the path towards our goal is straight, or variance, fluctuating responses such as indecisiveness and loss of focus. Bias leads to rigid underfitting or the incapacity to adapt to change, while variance to overfitting or scattering our energy across too many fronts. Attained through the lasso and ridge method, regularization can help us maintain a low bias and low variance. Recommended in situations in which we prioritize some predictors of high impact, the lasso method keeps only the most important traits, such as the focus on our main goal. To be favored in situations in which many predictors contribute to the outcome, the ridge method keeps all traits, but balances their weight, reflecting what Robert Greene calls strategic patience. Ensemble learning, strength in combination. No model thrives alone. Ensembles combine perspectives. Bagging trains subsets independently, then averages results. Robert Greene urges us to think in systems, not isolated events. Cultivating the ability to step away, to pull out of tunnel vision, to see a bigger picture, is a cornerstone of rational thinking and strategic thinking, he says. Bagging weighs strategies by their net effect, averaging gains and costs. Boosting implies sequential learning, where each model corrects the last. Mark Manson says that improvement at anything is based on thousands of tiny failures. Boosting recreates Robert Greene's words on how repeated failure will toughen our spirit and show us with absolute clarity how things must be done. Stacking trains and combines models into a meta-learner. Sun Tzu calls for victory through preparation. Stacking reflects his advice on planning, timing, and speed. Machiavelli adds decisiveness and eliminating threats before they materialize. Think of stacking as a method for achieving the extensive planning recommended by Sun Tzu, through the meta-learner calculating the optimal timing and speed of our offensive, while also building up our contingency strategy. Continuous transformation, Sun Tzu advised us to adapt like water to terrain. In ML, this is model.transform, mutating to fit context. His most famous counsel, appear weak when strong and strong when weak, calls for checking mutual information. What traits reveal about each other? Finally, clarity of aim is paramount. In ML, we test focus through permutation importance. Does performance collapse when priorities are shuffled? In life, the question remains, can we keep our eyes on the prize?